Okay, number 34 on my homework is a word problem. I'm not going to write out the whole word problem here because yours will be different. But the thing to notice is that they do give you a function. They give you this function, and that is a quadratic function. Okay, now in my problem, essentially what it's asking you to do, it says, in what year was the amount blah, blah, blah. So in my problem, it says X is the number of years. So really, what you're being asked to do is set this equation equal to, in my case, it's 10.5. It says in what year was the amount about 10.5 billion. So I know your word problem is going to be different, but essentially what you have to do for this problem, number 34, is set the function equal to that value that they give you, and then just solve. So this becomes just an equation to solve, okay? Now, it's a messy equation. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a little bit time consuming, but the first step is to get it into standard form, which means to get it equal to 0. Now, I don't like looking at this 1.400, so we don't need that when we get down to the calculation. So I'm just going to leave off those zeros. Oh, I forgot the x squared though. Plus 5.283x. Now, I don't know what that is. 5.517 minus 10.5. So that becomes negative 4.983. And now it really just becomes a quadratic formula problem. Okay. So we are going to substitute these numbers into the quadratic formula, and that's the messy part, all over 2a. So we are going to put numbers in for b, a, and c into this quadratic equation, quadratic formula. So b is 5.283. A is negative 1.4, and C is negative 4.93. Now, as I said in an earlier problem, what I suggest on these is you just type the stuff underneath, just underneath the radical first, and then you can take the square root of that. All right, so I'm going to type that in carefully and try not to screw it up. Negative 1.4 times negative 4.93, and I got, now again, this may not sound too exciting because you have a different problem to look at, but I got that, and then I have to take the square root of that. Well, taking the square root of that number becomes, I have negative 5.283 plus or minus 0.0727255. Well, we still got to finish it. We're going to get two possible answers because we have to do this plus that number, and minus that number. So just be careful what you type in. I'm going to type this in with a plus right now. Okay, negative 5.283 plus 0.0727255. Push enter, and then divide by negative 2.8. I got a positive 1.86. And now I'm going to redo this, though. I'm going to do it with a minus. So negative 5.283 minus 0.0727255, and then divide that by negative 2.8. So that gives me 1.91 roughly. Okay. Now my problem says to round to the nearest year. it says the amount of country A funding for country B was about 2.5 billion in the year. So you got to read these problems carefully. That's the one thing I would strongly encourage you to do. Both of these round off to 2. They want us to round off to the nearest year. So I'm going to enter 2 years after the time in my problem was they started off with 2007. So I'm going to enter 2009.